any comments from your family?
Yes, I do. Okay, first thing, I appreciate that we had the gentleman from the law firm showing up at the last meeting, but I don't think he really understood what our issues are. He was talking about transparency in the police department. We are strong supporters of the police department. I think our concern is basic transparency. I think that everybody in this room and the general public should basically maybe schedule a time to have the open records department of the state has right to know training and sunshine law training. I think that in general, we should have a class on that. That would be the better use of attorney's time. Just want to put that out there. And then another concern I have, I went to the planning meeting and I just was not real comfortable with board members that were on the planning meeting discussing things that are not even something that is in front of the board as of yet. There was discussion on the property at the airport, which are waiting for plans on still. We have nothing to discuss on it, but the person keeps on talking about it. I feel like it's technically okay, but it's not very appropriate to be discussing that till we have plans in front of the table. So, and that also was discussed at every meeting. Till we have plans, it's really a moot point to discuss at this point. And I just think that's inappropriate. I feel like they're trying to sway people's opinions. We don't have an opinion yet because we have nothing to look at. So I just don't put that out there. I just felt that was very inappropriate. Thank you. No.
Anyone else?
I just want to announce there is another gun show this weekend over at Morgantown Center. The one they had 2 weeks ago, there was never any no parking signs put up, but they weren't as big as the ones before the election. That kind of put the overflow got out there, and just this week it'll be a problem, but just to give you a heads up.
Would be also Friday, Saturday, and Sunday,
Yeah.
like the last one?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Everyone has their correspondence? Okay, business. Policy for video recordings of township meetings. So I assume no one got to go over those yet. So if you just want to review that, and we can discuss that at a later meeting. Next is policy for public township meetings, same thing. You can review that, we'll go over that in the next meeting. Third one, mailbox damage. So I guess there was a mailbox damage for 114 Maple Drive. Someone claimed that a truck hit it, but it was a neighbor who told someone that a truck hit it. So as of right now, we don't have any more details. for that.
Sandy? I'm here, my name is Coral Pokrop, I live at 114 Maple Drive. I had COVID and was under quarantine for the 2 weeks that we're talking about here, but my neighbor, Linda Gray, who lives right next door, when I went out after I was out of quarantine and went to do my driveway, I noticed when I went to pull the mail out of the mailbox literally almost fell off of my hand, and that's when I noticed that the entire vinyl column on it was just ripped apart. In talking with her, she said that she saw the snowplow come plowing down the road, and that the truck and the speed of the truck was so fast that the snow just hit this mailbox and just completely shattered. She saw the mailbox swinging off to the side when it got hit. I do have pictures. I do have a signed letter from our neighbor that says that witnessed the damage, and I'm looking basically for the $50 it costs to replace the mailbox. I mean, I've had this mailbox up for 38 years in this township, and it's never gotten knocked down before. I noticed that in talking with some of the other neighbors in the neighborhood this winter particularly, we've had as many as 6 mailboxes knocked down, 2 of which I know have made complaints about it, and they didn't hear anything back. And the only reason I pursued it was because I had my eyewitness neighbor from that actually saw the damage, and then I called here and found out I had to fill out a complaint and then a police report. And I'm basically looking for damage replacement for the mailbox.
Okay, our
but-
policy is that unless the truck hits it,
I understand that,
okay.
I understand that, but from what I know, from what my neighbors saw, and I've seen it before when I've been out doing driveways for neighbors, the trucks in this township go through that neighborhood way too fast. And anytime you go through fast, that snow goes just as fast, and anything it hits. There was a report tonight on the news where a plow came by a neighborhood and threw snow and cracked the windshield in a car. If nothing else, at least the people that are driving those trucks should be aware of the fact that the damage that heavy snow can do, not just to mailboxes, but to cars, to people that might be standing on the sidewalk. Every time that snow plows come by this year, it's completely covered my sidewalk a second time with the snow that gets thrown out. And if they're not going that fast, that doesn't happen. It gets piled up on the side of the road. But it gets thrown onto the front lawn, it gets thrown onto the sidewalk, and I have to do it over again. So my point is, yes, you do have a policy about snow, but I think it's negligence in the fact of the drivers of the trucks, that they're driving too fast and they're causing the damage.
How big a truck are we talking about? A pickup truck or?
No, it's the township maintenance trucks. I don't know. I guess
It's a
they're,
big truck.
yeah, I guess there's, pickup trucks. They're not,
pickups, they're dump
The-
trucks.
they're
big
the trucks
dump
that the township uses to sand, the
Well, they have
township uses to haul
pickup
dirt.
size trucks and then they have big,
The one that comes back in our neighborhood is this year, the most recent storm was the dump truck.
it would be the big truck,
Yeah,
like
Right.
450 or bigger truck.
yeah.
Right,
Yeah, see, those trucks are two-wheel drive and they gotta keep their speed up or
I
they can't
understand
push
that.
the snow, especially with heavy snow.
It's
okay.
not just that, in further explanation, because I plow snow, not for the township, for myself.
Right,
When the snow is this deep and this wet and heavy, it's
Mhm.
very hard to push, just
I
like it is to
understand that.
shovel. So and when we get the amount of snow that we've been having this year, you have to get that snow back. Because if you don't, and you just keep stacking it, pretty soon you'll have one lane of traffic. And
Okay.
you won't be able to, once you push that like that, it freezes.
mhm,
So now you're stuck, I mean, they would have to bring big machines in to pile that up into the yard or haul away with pump. So there's a reason that they have a little bit of speed. I
Okay.
didn't see it past your house. I'm
Right.
just saying, there's a reason they have speed behind them, and that's so that they can get that snow off the street. That's the main goal.
I understand that.
What if
Um,
someone was hurt? What if somebody got hurt from then you wouldn't, because the truck didn't actually hit them, you wouldn't, entertain that?
I mean, if I was standing in my driveway, which I do often when the plow comes through, and they drive at the speed you're telling me they have to drive to push this heavy snow, and that snow comes and hits me and knocks me over, are you saying, too bad?
Well, we'll have to deal with that at the
I
time it
mean,
happens.
it's only a
You're
mailbox.
talking apples and oranges, you're
It's-
talking about
it's a
person
mailbox.
compared to a mailbox.
Yeah, I
Okay,
understand
how about
it's
a windshield?
mailbox,
How
but
about a-
it's- I think it's
Well,
the issue,
Hold on,
it's the issue of the trucks traveling a little bit too fast. I'm not saying they're going through there at 60 miles an hour, but they're going too fast. When that snow can fly from the road out into my front lawn in huge heaps, that's too fast. I know private trucks, half-ton pickup trucks, which my neighbor has, when he does a driveway. He's pushing the same kind of snow in a driveway. He's not knocking mailboxes over. We've had half a dozen mailboxes that I have talked to different neighbors, half a dozen mailboxes in our neighborhood alone in the past 3 storms that have gotten knocked down. And they got the same response that I think I'm getting here, is that it's our policy that's, because the snow hits it, we're not gonna cover it.
You can't compare a four-wheel drive pickup truck that's pushing a much smaller volume of snow to a big truck that's pushing heavy
Okay.
snow off the berm of the road, you know what I mean?
Okay,
They
if-
gotta keep their speed up more than a pickup truck would.
okay, like I said before, I've been here 38 years, and that mailbox has been sitting out there since the township allowed mailboxes in our neighborhood. it hasn't gotten knocked down before. What's
Are you sure
different
it
this
hasn't
year?
deteriorated over the years?
Pardon?
It hasn't deteriorated, gotten old, worn out?
It's vinyl.
Yeah, the sun deteriorates them
Well, you're lucky. I mean, our mailbox has been down
multiple times.
multiple times. 'cause
Yeah, I
it's,
understand
15
that.
years in a row, my mailbox got taken down. Our road crew foreman can vouch for it. I live on Mill Road, and they have to keep the speed going up the hill every year. It's like a laughing stock, and I have to replace my mailbox every year.
Three
Right.
mailboxes, well, I shouldn't
So-
say that, I fixed
I
my
mean,
mailbox.
I
so
feel
bad.
for you. We all feel for you, but the
Yeah.
problem is, we don't have a budget for mailboxes in this magnitude. I mean, we made the mistake many years ago, if you guys remember, we had that person submitted a bill for $1,200 for a mailbox.
Mhm.
Which, $1,200, like, really,
That's crazy.
seriously?
That's
I mean,
crazy.
so our policy, we follow the PennDOT. PennDOT does the same thing. If their truck hits it, then yes, we will replace it. We have a dollar amount that we will go up to. But
Mhm.
if it's snow, I mean, last snowstorm, or two snowstorms ago, I guess, we had, what, 15?
Yes.
That's right, we did have a lot of snow.
I
But-
mean,
but
and, you
there's
know,
nothing
and
to
in
be
the
said
road
about-
crews, in road crews' defense, you're gonna notice more snow in your sidewalks and your yards because they're pushing back to the curbs, curb to curb.
Mhm.
Because you have temperature drops. It's cold, then all of a sudden it's 50 degrees. Well, when that snow melts, it needs to get to the inlets, and the
Right.
inlets follow the curbs, so they have to go curb to curb. So yes, they do have to push the snow back further.
I
And if they see
understand
a snowstorm, they get a 12-inch snowstorm, and they have a 5-inch snowstorm forecast the next couple days, they gotta make room for the next snowstorm coming in. So like I said, I understand your complaints, but we just don't budget for that. I mean, we would go broke and have to raise taxes just to pay for mailboxes.
Or possibly have the snowplows drive a little bit slower. I'm not talking about snail through the neighborhood. I understand it's gotta go fast enough to push the amount of snow that's there. But I just think that they drive, and our neighbor said this in the letter, that they're just driving way too fast, and it's an accident waiting to happen. It may be a mailbox today, it might be someone's, personal injury, or it might be the windshield on a car.
I understand, yes. I mean,
So
we have,
I'm just
well,
trying to
we will-
make
he's
my
right
point.
here, but I will say that we have 3 full-time guys, 2 part-times, correct? We have 28 miles of road. Each truck takes a route, and their route takes about an hour, 2 hours. So when
Okay.
you have the rate of snowfall falling at 1 to 2 inches an hour, and it's taking them 2 hours to get back, they leave, as soon as they leave, it's already snow covered again. So you understand, and they're working 12, 16-hour shifts.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I understand, we will say something to them about slowing down, but I mean,
Okay.
I think they did
Appreciate
an
it.
excellent job clearing the streets in town.
No, I
think they
have
did.
no complaints about the job that they do, I'm just, stating my case, okay? I appreciate you being heard, thank you.
Okay, ratify proclamation 2021-02 snow emergency declaration.
I'll make a motion to accept 2021-02.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
RKO invoice, Carnival audit.
Could I have some history on that?
It's a bill for the audit for the Carnival.
Okay, did we ever get a letter from the auditor saying that what they felt was deficit? Because Eric had said that we need to get a letter. I haven't seen a letter come across.
I don't know.
No, they expect to have the audit done for the March.
I have a
meeting.
few questions on this.
Okay.
Yep.
The Carnival account is part of the township. Who made the choice not to audit the first few years? Did we or did they?
Don't
Something
know.
we can't figure out, there's no
Yeah.
trail. Randy's not here. It should have been, why wouldn't they audit all money?
That's right,
The
it's
township
part of the
should always
township,
be.
it should be an audit, the regular audit.
I mean,
But it's
So
not.
now they decide to do an audit this year, they should have been only doing the audit on the 2019 Carnival, because that's the audit they were doing. And that's included in the audit for the township. There's no way we should be paying any more for an audit, unless somebody told them to do the whole thing.
and that's why I asked for the letter, because I think it's, I'm sorry,
Say comments. from-
but, yeah, well, we have to have a discussion before you make any votes.
And is that it?
I don't think we owe them a dime. That should be in the audit.
No, it might have been someone from this township that told him because it's such a small amount compared to our budget, not to audit it. But one thing that was.
And they agreed to it? There are
I don't know.
auditors
One
to
thing,
audit our money.
we have no idea why they didn't audit it.
Well, we need
but,
to know.
Okay? The concern is.
Maybe we should invite some representative from the audit
They're
They'll
gonna
company
most
be
likely
and
be
ask
here
them
March
questions.
9th with a lot of answers, okay? A lot of questions also. Somewhere along the line, the carnival got set up to have its own accrual account. Randy
There's
has
lots
it,
of accrual accounts.
yeah, Randy has it in the minutes, but he does not have where the board voted to approve this account. I know Paul was pushing for an account early on, but how'd that get set up without the, I don't know how that got set up. But the accrual account does not get the focus during an audit like the regular general fund does.
But it should.
But still, money's
So-
Part of the
money.
township.
Right, so it gets assigned through where it belongs.
It has to be accounted for.
Correct, so, I mean, the carnival money should be going through the accrual, so it gets the same audit and it goes through the same thing all the other money
Not the
goes
accrual,
through.
the general
The
fund.
general fund, it shouldn't be in the accrual.
Originally, all the payments were supposed to come out of the general fund. Deposits go in the accrual, but, that isn't what happened. That's what the minutes state from 2015 now. The payments actually, from what I'm finding out, there were cash payments done from that carnival. And I don't know how this board wasn't made available, wasn't made, wasn't allowed to vote on cash payments. You know, that was known from the beginning, no cash to be spent. That's township money, and it's not touched. You deposit it on behalf of the township, and the board will vote for any expenditures to be paid. But it wasn't done that way.
So this invoice, we did vote for them to continue with the audit.
As a board, at this
As-
board,
This board
For
just
2019. Why would they go back if they didn't audit it before? They were doing an audit for 2019,
Yes, they're doing the audit for 2019.
not all the way back.
But they're still looking at the records that finally were turned in after 5 years, yes, to try and get a handle on what's going on with the carnival. Cause, I mean,
I still think it's part of our audit. It's not a separate bill.
So what is going on with the carnival?
why weren't the records turned into the township for 5 years?
And we went over this before. I gave Jack what Jack asked me for, a profit and loss statement at the end of the year.
This board.
You seem to be the one that had the problem with it.
I'm looking out for the citizens of this community, okay?
Oh, you are you?
Exactly. Yeah, you're not funny.
I'm
And,
letting
or
you.
your people either, that you bring to the meeting.
What people? I'm a public person, and I'm allowed to ask questions.
The board,
I know, but he
Anyway.
brought me into it.
Anyway, why weren't those records turned in from year one? Okay, they were
Why
asked
didn't
for
you
every
ask
year.
for them?
They're in the minutes, we asked for them multiple times. Scott Moyer asked for them, Randy even put them in the minutes.
You spent a lot of time on this because what, you got a personal vendetta against me?
You handled possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars
And I have
in cash.
deposits to back up all the cash freaking deposits.
At the last on the February 9th meeting, you're saying you did what the treasurer told you? The treasurer had very little input into how you handled that carnival. You had all the finances, all the contracts. No one on this board or the treasurer had an idea what was going on with that
And
carnival.
you're telling me that you're gonna take it over?
What are you talking about? No
Well,
one
are you gonna
had-
tell me that you're gonna do it? Are you gonna organize it?
saying
Are you gonna help out with
that,
it? Then what is the problem?
The problem is we gotta follow the laws. And Eric
And
told
what
you.
laws were broken?
Okay, well, let's look at the township, second-class township code.
Look at you, you spent a lot of time with this, didn't you, Alan?
No.
Are you like anti-community? Is that what you are?
No, are you? Why don't you?
Oh my
want
God,
to-
you know what I do for this
Don't you
carnival?
understand transparency in government?
Oh my God, you're one to talk.
Yeah, exactly. I know you spread a lot of rumors about me when the
Really?
carnival came
What
up.
rumors
and-
do I spread about you?
Well, you actually sent an email to the board claiming we were being investigated by the DA's office and a week or two later, the DA.
I'll tell you what, how about I take
contacted
off,
us
how about I
all.
take off work tomorrow, me and you go to the DA's office, and we'll talk to the freaking detective that interviewed me, in the
Yes.
room, being
I
freaking
talked, I
videotaped.
talked to Berks County.
Do you wanna go
DA.
here, do you really wanna discuss this in
Yes.
public?
Yes, and you told us that you were called up there, interrogated like in the movies and TV, good cop, bad cop, okay? And you
Let's get back,
recommend,
let's talk about the carnival for now.
You wanna talk about this, I'll be glad to talk with you
I
outside.
talked to John Adams personally 3 times. He said there was never an investigation on this board. I
Good
have
for
your
you.
email that says there was.
Call Detective Selecki at the Berks County District Attorney's, go
He
ahead, call
called
him.
all these supervisors to tell them like a week or two later, we never had an investigation on you, correct, Jeff? Correct, Sandy? Why would you lie to us like that?
I don't freaking lie, okay? You're the one that lies, and if you
No,
wanna
that's
go
not
there,
true.
I will
Back to
talk.
the invoice.
Yeah, you can talk all you want, because everything
Really?
you said about me
Well,
over
you know
there-
what, I think because of the fact that I didn't agree with your whole Chief Scalia thing, is that's why you're coming after me with the carnival.
No, that whole
Really?
Scalia thing that you started, okay?
I
Was to
started.
cover this carnival that came up
Alan,
in
what were you
2019.
saying about the carnival?
The carnival, okay? What about the carnival?
So,
You were discussing the carnival, let's get back to
Yes.
that.
Okay, we never had records, never had contracts. Eric told this board and Paul, his first year on the job, when the carnival came up, that you must keep all carnival records in the township office for access.
Nothing was
If-
ever said like that to me.
Of course it was. This board, guys, you heard it.
well, yes, all contracts were to be signed by
Yes.
the board, the chairman, and records have to be kept in
Yes.
the township.
Okay,
It's
you have
public
everything.
records. Those are public records, and it was, why, Eric, what? Tell him. You told this.
Tell
board,
him,
and you
tell
told
him.
him
What-
before.
The instance that's come up in public in the past is in the context of contract approval, at which point I reminded the board that any contract that has the township's name on it must come before the board for a public vote. And then that contract needs to be retained in the township's office. And so that was public discussion at whatever time those contracts came up.
And did it
7
happen?
years ago. The contracts were voted on in public at that point and ratified if they had been signed prior to that meeting.
Yeah, they were
ratified by
after the
board.
fact ratified by the board to cover him, but in
Cover me.
19.
So every
Yes.
year we talk about the carnival, I said, okay, this is the weeks for the carnival, the 3rd week of June. This is what we're doing, and you're like, everybody's like, okay,
No,
for
that's
5
not-
years,
Everybody
really.
said you don't have the right.
So why
to
wasn't
find
this discussion
carnival."
held 5 years ago, or 6 years
It
ago?
was held every year.
Really?
This board was in those meetings.
Okay, so this invoice that's sitting right here is for the audit that we approved.
Okay,
for it to be
were you
done.
in those meetings when that question was made to Paul? In 2019, it was told to him, if you sign the contract prior to the board even being exposed to looking at the contract, that, you know, we wouldn't, back you up again by voting after the fact to allow you to sign for the board. And that's when you took the 19 contract, and it looks like you squeezed in 2 additional years on the contract.
We did with them, yes, and
Yeah,
that
you
we brought
didn't
up.
even notify the board.
Why didn't I? I said it, we signed a 3-year contract.
Yeah, at the last meeting, but you claim to have added those 2 years in 2018.
So is this costing the township a dime?
What?
What is this costing the township? Nothing.
It's about procedure. and I'm
Procedure,
trying to-
what kind of procedure? I don't,
Every
where's our
year-
policy as to
every
procedure
year.
on it?
Well, that's the thing, that's what we need. So going forward, I don't think we should be doing anything with any carnival until we get records back from the auditor telling us what we have to have, how it gets handled, how the bills get handled, how the money comes through here, and we have it set up properly.
Properly.
Just
So
like
you
we
want,
would
you want to
anything
cancel the
else.
carnival at 250th anniversary
It
because
was
you
never
have a problem
scheduled,
with me?
except for you signed a contract with tons of fun. It looks like here, you added 2 years to it without the board's knowledge again.
And like I said, are you planning on helping organize it? What do you have to do with it other than sit here and say, okay, go ahead? I mean, we had a summer
I'm
camp, we had a summer
looking out
camp
for
that
this
cost the
community.
township how much money?
That's
It
correct.
How much money? And we let it go and didn't say a word.
We're not talking about-
But wait a
Alright.
second. I remember you saying, well, hey, it doesn't cost us anything with the carnival. Did you not make those comments before?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
always-
it's running, it's
You're
taking
always
care of itself.
shifting the conversation, okay? We just want the carnival run transparent and run.
And you have everything.
You claim that, I don't believe that.
Why not?
You claimed that for 5 years, that Jack's office had everything. We had
I'd like to make a
nothing.
comment about the stuff on the agenda, which has nothing to do with what they're discussing. They're not discussing what's on the agenda at this
Okay,
point.
well, that's
Yeah,
right. Sit down.
Excuse
Right
me.
now, Please.
I'm
Yeah,
standing up.
Michelle.
We're gonna, okay, so, are we good with this? I mean.
As far as what?
Do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, well, the concern is that carnival in, June, we can't have the carnival until we find out what's going on. The recommendation that we wait for the letter or the audit to be done by RKL before we send the cease and desist order to Tons and Fun, that was Eric's recommendation. The auditor still stands by his recommendation.
And what did they do?
Huh?
What did Tons of Fun do?
Well, for one, they knew from the first year they weren't supposed to basically run a carnival through you without the board's first prior approval.
But here we are, 6 years later, now all
You
of a sudden
only
it's a
just now
problem.
turned the records in, don't blame it on us.
Oh my God, you could have asked for the records any time.
We did every
So
year.
we need to,
Really?
do something moving forward, we wanna do everything right.
Well, and Sandy, from what I understand, if we get a right to know for carnival records, we're gonna be in
Because we don't have it.
trouble.
You have them, you have everything I have.
I don't, it wasn't handed to me, I don't have it, the auditor has it now, but I was just told, if we get a right to know, we don't have everything, so
No,
we have to have.
we still don't have
procedures.
everything.
You have everything that I have in my possession.
Okay, do you
I
have
have what
proof?
was put on the bill list and approved by the board,
Yeah.
that's what I have.
Do you really think we're gonna get somebody asking about this?
Oh, yes.
They ask about all kinds
And
of
we're gonna
things, you
cancel a
never know.
250-year anniversary? Seriously?
Talk to them, what?
Do you have
Not me.
proof of insurance from Tons of Fun listing us as additional insured on the policy?
I'm sure they have it, yeah.
We don't have it. Auditor couldn't find it yet. That's important.
Okay, well, tell me what you need. You don't talk to me. You talk to everybody but me except for at a meeting.
What are you talking about? That should have been with the township every year. It was in the first contract that they were provided upon renewal, but they didn't. Apparently, no one has it. That's an important thing to have. Proof of insurance listing you as additional insured to cover your butt if someone gets hurt on a ride or whatever. But
I'd sooner know how much money we spent on John Scalia's attorney fees
So,
than how much we spent on the
We have an
carnival.
invoice in front of us for the $2,350. Now, when we have bills come through
okay,
here,
one thing I want to clarify here, Eric. Probably your first year here when the carnival came up, didn't you explain to Paul that if he wants to run the carnival fast and loose like he was and not provide transparency to this board and this community and keep the records here, the contracts here, he had to form a nonprofit, organization, rent or lease the space from the township, and then he could run it any way he wanted to, with no transparency, no requirements under the second-class township code, right? You told him
Well,
that.
Again, and I don't wanna get pulled into the middle of the disputes, but my advice when it has come up periodically has always been, first and foremost, if it's a township contract, when Arden Township's name is on it, then it needs to be voted on by the board in public. No matter the expenditure, that's the second-class township code requires it. I likely may have at some point in time suggested an alternative so that you do not need to follow those formalities of the second-class township code, would be a community organization can either take it over or you can create a nonprofit, at which point you're not subjected to the second-class township code requirements. Still have a corporate code that needs to be followed, nonprofits need to adhere to, but it's not something then that needs to be taken up here at public meetings by this board. So that has been my advice on the period, in the instances that it has come up, which is generally once or twice a year, I think, maybe less.
Yes.
If they send an invoice, aren't they done? I mean, typically you don't send an invoice till you're done. So if they're done with the audit, why aren't they
no,
getting
it's a
it?
partial billing.
It's partial billing?
Yeah.
So is there
We've
any
gotten
way we
partial
can get it
billings from
speeded up
others.
so that we can still have the event this year? I mean, this year in particular, because of, we weren't able to have it last year, and it is the 200th. I mean,
Okay, I mean, we can discuss that after we get through
Okay.
the bill
sorry.
here. Okay. All right, so the question is, I mean, when bills come in, they're assigned to who they go to, whether it be the police department or any other. So I'm not sure what the big deal is that we assigned the 2350, that it was Carnival. It's all funds anyway that are
Because that
coming
takes
from
away
that.
from a lot of money we have for the event. I mean, that was all stuff that we raised or,
This should have been in the regular fund.
I mean, I guarantee, we had, the casino was planning on donating money for the 250th. Well, with them not being open, I guarantee we're not gonna get that money. I mean, so, we're talking about having fireworks in a parade, that comes with, you know, and right now to go door to door to businesses, all the businesses are hurting for money. And you're dwindling away whatever we have to put back into the event. I don't think that's right.
What do we have left in the
There's
Carnival
16
fund?
grand. 16 and some change.
Yeah, and our bills, January, February, March, are really tough for the township. We don't have much revenue coming in until real estate starts coming in, so. And the carnival funds, they were deposited directly into the accrual, they never went through the general, the audit is primarily.
You gave me the deposit slips.
And
I put them where you told me to put
I
them.
followed what was done before,
Yeah, so I mean,
Right,
and
so
so now,
that's what we need to fix.
If
We
it
need to
doesn't-
fix, so going forward, we
it
don't
doesn't-
have this issue.
if it doesn't go through the general fund, then the RKL, they don't see the connection,
So we should have the carnival funds put in the general fund.
and you can
And
transfer
then we have a
them.
trail and
And there
everything's,
won't be a separate audit needed for a
and
carnival.
it's gonna be included in the,
Correct.
okay.
It'll be total transparency. Deposits, everything that comes out of it will be checked. But you made a lot of claims in the last meeting that Jack, the treasurer, told you how to run this carnival, you
no,
know,
no.
or how to
I
handle
asked
the
Jack what
finances.
Jack needed from me, and all I do is, when I get the deposits, I give them to him. I photocopy it, he photocopies it. And at the end, all he's looking for is a profit loss statement, that's what I give him.
And
That was good enough for him.
And what about the expenses that were cash that you spent without township's knowledge?
It's all included in that freaking profit and loss statement.
Well, why would you do that?
What do you mean, why would I do what?
Spend money without the board voting?
Spend what kind of money? I don't spend any money.
Cash.
What are you talking about, cash?
Cash that you apparently took in the carnival process that you didn't deposit in the township account and then have a check written from the account, from our account and have the board vote to pay a bill.
Well, show me the policy that I'm supposed to follow by on that.
Well, that's what we need to establish.
Right,
going
so
forward,
why am
we
I
don't
getting,
have
I'm
this.
under the gun because we
So-
don't even have a policy on
Right,
anything like
that's
this.
Well,
what
that's
we
the
need to
carnival
do.
committee's job to do those things. If they don't know how to do it per the law, which is second-class township code,
Okay,
I mean, it tells you in here about contracts and handling contracts. If you exceed
then show me a
$10,000,
policy, come up with a policy then.
it's the code, the township code. If you're entering into a contract over $10,000.
What is your end game here, Alan? I mean, what are you looking for from me?
I'm just looking for transparency.
You
on the
have
carnival.
everything, what do you want from me?
I don't know that I do, cause you told us that for 5 years and we didn't.
You got
So
it,
this
you have
invoice-
everything.
I don't know, I think
Does
that
anyone-
we still don't
I
have
still
the
feel it should come
certificate of
from the
insurance.
carnival.
Then call them up and get it.
Why wouldn't we
Only
have that
because
before
if
they
you
had
need
the event
money,
the first
you need to
time?
transfer money
I
over
guarantee
to
you
the
they have
carnival fund. I
insurance.
mean, we have that
I don't know.
authority to do that. But
But
I
like
think
I
it should
said,
be
what's your end
assigned
game?
where it belongs.
You don't want this event, what?
I would agree with that.
No, of course I want the
You know what I mean?
event.
It's
I
not-
want to
it's
handle
all-
it right though
it's all
every
township
time.
Then take
money.
over the finances, do it all.
Charge
Okay,
to the
so we're gonna-
accountant,
Do
We're
it.
gonna vote
to the
on,
line item.
Don't look past me, look at me.
If we'd have.
Do the finances, take care of all that
right, it's not
stuff.
like we would.
Do it the way you were
it's not like we
talking
haven't
about.
given money to go forward.
Jack
The
and
way I
Jesse
see that is
will
then you
through
can
the
show.
township.
Okay, so what's the problem, and why are you coming after me?
I'm not,
Because
you're
you're not
making
part of
it
the
something
freaking
personal.
It should have
Really?
been, but we're here and we're trying to straighten it out. I mean, I don't wanna have to go through this, but we have to, that's what we're here for. We may
Nobody
not
wants to
agree, but
confront
we
Paul
gotta
the
figure
way he
something
acts.
out.
Yeah, whatever.
So, I make a motion, we pay the bill and then it goes through,
All the
through the
money
carnival.
in our accounts is our township money. So, because it's for the carnival, it should come out of the carnival line item, or the carnival fund.
I still say it should be part of the regular.
I agree. I mean,
It
what do we
would've
pay,
been-
what do we pay for the audit?
It would have been if it would have been handled in the general fund, plus there would have been all that accountability.
after-
Well, they decided
for
this year to
transactions.
do it, why didn't they decide to do it when they were doing the regular audit?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. This is new to me.
Because
Something's screwing.
our audit was
And I don't know
in
why.
mind.
It started with cash transactions, we presented.
Good
I don't care about what, I just wanna know
That's what
why it
started
wasn't
it.
in the regular audit.
And we've had the same
Somebody
company
had to
for how many years
Tell
now?
them to audit. it,
And we've been
or they
doing cash
wouldn't.
transactions for how long? Now all of a sudden,
I
that's what I don't
asked
get.
the audit,
I
of
don't
course.
get it.
Why wouldn't you want it
So you
audited?
created a bill on your own.
No, you guys created a bill by not doing it right from the
No,
beginning.
you told them to do it.